Good morning, everyone, wherever you're joining us from, and a warm welcome to this fireside chat. My name is Evelyn Ngatia. I'm the founder and CEO of Techawatt and 4IR Academy, and I'll be the moderator for this session. Today's fireside chat, we're going to be discussing the topic tracking 4IR adoption and impact across East Africa's tech sectors. So, very warm welcome. If I can just set the scene before I introduce our panelist, what are the top global 4IR trends that we're seeing, for 2022 and beyond? When you look at various companies that actually, put out trends, there's a common thread between, artificial intelligence, big data and analytics, Internet of Things, edge computing, extended reality, 5G, blockchain, platform technology, and we'll hear more about that. And also buzzwords like the metaverse, which really are a combination of different things, extended reality, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain. So those are the global trends. But today's topic, we want to talk about how are these 4IR technologies being used in East Africa? How are they being adopted and used to solve certain challenges within the economy? We're going to look at different sectors of the economy as well. So warm welcome. Today's my co-speaker is Imran Manji, who's the head of East Africa for Uber. Warm welcome, Imran, to the session.
Thank you for having me, Evelyn.
Yeah. So let me start by asking you, Imran, and we can be, it will be more or less a conversation, really fireside chat. Let's talk about the current state of play in your industry. First, I'm always wondering, how do you refer to which industry does Uber belong to? That's a big debate, but you can let us know which industry you actually belong to, or how you see yourselves. And what's the current state of play in your industry as well as other industries in terms of how 4IR adoption is happening?
Excellent. So to answer your question, Uber, we see ourselves as a technology company. First and foremost, we are a tech company, and our platform works across a few different sectors, whether it's ride hailing or courier delivery or other delivery services, but primarily we are a tech company. And what we have seen in our operations in East Africa is that there has been a long history of informal work. For example, if you look at the kiosks, if you look at the matatus, if you look at the fashion and textile industries, and the opportunity to digitize these industries and these sectors can lead to a huge number of economic opportunities for the people of East Africa in this digital world. And what we are seeing is that the technology that companies such as Uber is bringing to the market is unlocking additional economic opportunities for the users and for the wider countries.
Yeah, we can see that as looking at Uber as one of the pioneers in the platform technology, where you bring together different players into a specific platform that unlocks value for different players, whether they are those looking to be to get a ride, to get a taxi, and the drivers as well. So, and it's interesting that you say that the informal sector has really benefited from this kind of platform technology, and I like that there are a lot of industries that are also playing on this platform technology. Telcos, we are seeing the rise of the super apps as well. And also we're seeing the banking industry also looking at platforms as well. So it's a big one. So in terms
of— I can add on there.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's fundamentally a question of matching demand to supply. So where there are extra opportunities, so a traditional person could drive from their suburb to work and back, and that's the normal way that things were done. Now they have the opportunity to tap into the gig economy, to open the Uber app and take somebody with them on the same route, earn a little bit of extra income, go to their normal job, on the way back, turn on the app, earn a little bit extra income on the way home. So that gig economy and the adoption of it provides these extra opportunities for everybody.
Okay. And I think just as a follow-on question is, just by the mere fact that you're bringing together different players in the gig economy, how does that unlock, or how do you use data to unlock some of these things or solve the challenges? What's your perspective in terms of how data is being used and what you see the future of data is?
Excellent question. So I think it's a multifaceted question, because fundamentally the platform enables these opportunities, and the data and the algorithms that are running in the background, the AI that's present, enables the more efficient use of those assets. So for example, when a traditional taxi picks somebody up from the airport, drops them at a hotel if they're a tourist, and then goes back to the airport, that's only 50% utilization. So technology and data enables a greater optimization and utilization of someone's asset, for example, their vehicle. When we have large quantities of data, we're then able to design products that better match the needs of the cities that we operate in. So for example, in a city like Nairobi, where traffic is a bit of a problem, we can implement products such as Chap Chap Share, where on the way, picking one person and taking them to the CBD, on the way, the car can stop at another suburb, pick somebody else, drop the first person to the CBD, and then continue and drop somebody else. That's only possible because we're seeing high traffic areas in specific parts of the city at specific times of day. So then we can then develop products that then efficiently meet that untapped demand.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because it brings me to the next question about, the use of data, the use of AI, the use of the platform. And you've talked about cities, urban cities, and how to optimize the assets, how to optimize the data. And one of the things that has been out there in the media is about, the next level of Uber in terms of smart cities or smart city solutions for urban development or urban areas. Is there something that we should be thinking about? Is it something, and I'm talking about smart city solutions, is there something that is in the near future? Do you see us, as Kenya, as East Africa, tapping into this kind of solutions and them working for us and for our urban cities to make our lives easier?
I think so, and I hope so. I think that if we as a society embrace data and the efficiencies that we can generate, it will lead to a better city overall. So, for example, when it comes to urban planning, right now we have data on high traffic areas, we have data on high accident areas. The provision of this data to city planners, to urban planners, enables them to better allocate their resources. So they can target, okay, this specific road is always got traffic on it. Let's focus our priorities on building a parallel road rather than building a road in a different place. Similarly, if there's a high traffic area, we need, for example, bumps, speed bumps, or we need stop signs, or we need to change the layout of an intersection. So data enables those efficiencies, and if it's embraced properly, the benefits to the residents of that city are enormous. And as Uber, we see ourselves as a partner to public transport. So for example, if we had a light rail system, it means that we need fewer cars on the road, but we still need last mile access. So from somebody's house to the closest rail station, and then from their arrival point to their exact place of work. So we see ourselves as a partner to this sort of planning and public transport in general.
Wow. Impressive. Always moving to the next level. And I think that's what technology does for us is, once you've cracked a certain level, another opportunity arises for you to solve another problem, which is really where one of the value adds of technology is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in that sense, now when you look at, and not just specific to Uber, but in general, when you look at the 4IR technologies, which ones do you see are most likely to be adopted in the next, 1, 2 years or 5 years, short term, for East Africa specifically? Which are these technologies that you feel are moving quite fast? There's traction, people, the companies, not just innovators, but even the larger corporates appreciate them and are, deploying these technologies. So which ones do you feel are getting the most attention in terms of solving challenges? And then which ones do you see are more longer term?
So I think from our perspective, artificial intelligence is definitely top of the mind. The ability of the capability of machine learning is enormous. We actually actively use artificial intelligence in our platform right now, and we have several features which would not be possible were it not for artificial intelligence. So, for example, when a driver is on our platform, at different times in the day, they'll be asked to take a photo, which is then compared. The facial recognition technology compares their face to the face of the authorized driver on that account. So that ensures that there's no missing, there's no identity that someone has stepped into, which is a fantastic safety feature, because it means that as a consumer, that the person whose car you're getting into is the person that has X thousand positive ratings. That is only possible because of AI, because of facial recognition technology. So I think there's a lot of scope there. Some of the other technologies that are very top of mind right now are cloud computing. Long gone are the days of carting around a little Excel hard drive that contains all your data on it. Now everything's in the cloud. And I think that way of working is being embraced more and more in this part of the world, and it's fantastic. It means that enormous quantities of data can be processed almost instantaneously and fed back, and it's very efficient. 5G is also coming along quite nicely in the country, and I think we're very lucky with the telecommunication sector that we have. The adoption of 5G is already in place, and that's going to help with the data explosion that we're seeing. In terms of further afield, I think IoT has a long runway. Internet of Things has a long runway, and we expect its impact to be enormous. But that's still on the runway.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can only agree in terms of the solutions that AI, is bringing, as well as IoT. I feel like, just looking at the different sectors, when I look at, like the manufacturing sector, agriculture sector, and, sectors that actually use IoT, I feel like, just like what you've said, we are a bit slow in terms of adopting these technologies. Yes, there are those innovators that are bringing the solutions. Like when I look at agri-tech, for example, and companies like Trigger Foods that have been, given awards time and time again for their solutions in terms of, and I guess also using the platform technology, because that's what they use as well, bringing together small-scale farmers and the informal sector, the retail, the smaller retailers, in terms of food as well, actually. So I see innovators like that taking shape not once in a while, but a lot. And we need to see a lot more of such solutions being deployed, with even the larger corporates and stuff like that. When you look at manufacturing sector, I also feel there's a lot of room. When I look at other countries in Europe, especially in Europe, and IoT, smart factories are actually taking shape. When you look at how can you make your factory remote? How can you operate it remotely? How can you optimize your assets as well? And the key thing, all these technologies are really interrelated, because Internet of Things works with smart sensors that pick on key data about the machine, about the environment, and And I always say it's the same IoT technology that is being used across the sectors. So if it's in smart manufacturing, it's still the same IoT. Of course, it's tailored towards that sector, but it's the same concept of the technology. So I feel like the solutions are there, and the larger corporates also, the solution providers in terms of software developers and stuff, have deployed have those solutions or those products out in the market, especially for smart manufacturing. But the uptake is a bit slow in terms of also how people actually, do they see value in this kind of technologies? And especially for Africa, are they seeing that value or not yet? Yeah, so
it's a good point. And I think there may be an aspect here about a lot of the IoT technologies are based around the accessibility of Wi-Fi, so that a sensor can immediately relay the data on a Wi-Fi network, and it's instantaneous. I think here we need greater Wi-Fi penetration to see that lift off as you're describing. So, for example, if we had Wi-Fi in vehicles, then we could easily add in sensors on speed to make sure that the driver is obeying the speed limit and is driving safely. We could add on a variety of different sensors, but instead of being based on a mobile chip and a cellular connection, then based on a Wi-Fi connection. I think that would really help the uptake.
And how, now that you've talked about that, how critical is 5G for this to happen?
Absolutely.
How critical do you think?
The data required for the 10x number of sensors that are forecasted has to go through some medium, and 5G is going to be the medium that it's going to go through. I think we as a people have skipped a lot of the wired infrastructure and we've moved straight to wireless, and 5G is the next step in that. There will definitely need to be improvements on coverage and probably on cost as well, but I think 5G will be absolutely critical.
Yeah. And do you think we're making strides in terms of that coverage and 5G deployment? So. Yeah.
I think so. I think from our perspective, generally speaking, we see very good performance of our app across the city as it's tracking people. So while there are the occasional hotspots, the occasional blind spots, we are seeing a pretty good coverage level.
Okay. And I want to shift the discussion a bit to now the future of work. And, we look at all these technologies, they have an impact on the future of work, the future of education. So Imran and Uber, as an employer, what do you feel are the skills that, the next, I don't want to say the next generation, the next entrance into the career space need to have that we don't already have? What are those skills you feel are so necessary that, people need to take attention?
Interesting question. And it's hard to answer with an exact skill that I think is missing, but I think it should be more of a mindset. So, back in the day, it was always about finish your education, finish your schooling. Then it became about getting a university degree. Now I think the mindset needs to be continuous learning throughout your lifetime. Yeah. The pace of technological change, the pace of learning has to keep up with that. So the mindset that, yes, I've finished my schooling, yes, I've got a degree or a diploma, but that you're continually learning, that you continue doing courses to upskill yourself, I think that is going to be critical for the workers of the future. One thing that we do at Uber is that we try and upskill our drivers with technology literacy courses. And this growth mindset to be continually learning, I think is critical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I always feel like, there's the digital skills themselves, when you talk about technology in itself, like the real technical skills, whether you're going to code or, or develop the software itself, but then there are also the strategic skills that you need. So it's not necessarily that you need the technical skills, because you can sometimes hire somebody to do it, but you need to understand what the technologies are and how they're evolving across the sectors. So we need that level of sort of strategic skills that people need to have to sort of open up their mind to know what's happening in the world, what technologies are working and how they can be used. Then you can arrange yourself or arrange your company and bring in the resources that you need to actually create a platform, create whatever it is that you need to bring. But then I also feel like there are also other kind of softer skills that you need. And I don't know why we call them softer skills, because they're really core skills, I think. Emotional intelligence, creativity, innovation, digital leadership. When you think about leaders who actually, and now I'm talking about, say, in the work environment, you need leaders who are going to bring out that innovation or create an environment where the people can innovate. So, for example, a leader who thinks they're always right and they know it all may not be able to bring out the innovation that we need to take us through the fourth industrial revolution. So we are at such a critical point in time that business models are shifting completely. So you need people to bring in their ideas. But if you're a leader who thinks you're always right, your ideas are it, then you're going to actually stifle the creativity, stifle the innovation. Then we have to think about, so digital leadership is going to be very critical in this era. We also think about just creating that environment where people can experiment, and failure is looked at not as really as failure, but as a learning point, as a way to grow. So there are many other skills. And I think also about when people are working from home, who are those people who really need, who really thrive? When you think about introverts, who are the deep thinkers, they're not thriving in the open plan office. They need space to go out, think about, solutions, and then bring them to the table. So we've got to think about also as corporates, how are we allowing everyone's creativity to come alive, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think it's a balance between, like you said, the collaboration that you get in an open plan office, for example, and then the peace and quiet that's often needed for deep strategic thinking. So finding that right balance, and finding the balance as well between leadership that sets the course, but also that is willing to listen and learn from employees with new ideas, with different ideas, I think is going to be very critical.
Yeah. I think we have I think 1 minute left. So I don't know, Imran, what do you want to share with people who are thinking about tracking for IR adoption or the technologies? What are your parting shots?
I would say that the mindset is very important. Try new technologies out, try the gig economy, see what works for you. And by trying new things, you may realize that you need to develop your skills in certain areas, and then to pursue that upskilling, continue growing. Technology, the pace of change is so fast that we need to have that growth mindset, that ability to, as you mentioned, to experiment, fail, and try again and keep going. I think that would be my last words on that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my last words would also be similar to that, in terms of, like you're talking about the growth mindset. That's the mindset that we really need to adopt, and just being able to learn, put yourself out there. There's a lot of new area, uncharted territory, opportunities out there for us to learn and create solutions. So, you mentioned earlier about, historically it's been, get a good job, get a degree. But, when we look at Gen Z, some of them, they are not looking for employment. They want to actually go into entrepreneurship, which is a good thing. So we're teaching them entrepreneurship and how to be good entrepreneurs, etc. So I think for me, it's about learning and the boldness and courage to actually go out and create solutions, because we are the ones who are creating the solutions. We shouldn't look to other areas, other continents to provide those solutions. It's us within ourselves. So we need to have that boldness and courage and know that we can actually thrive. We can actually do it. Yeah, I think that's what I can say. So thank you very much, Imran. It's been such a pleasure talking to you and picking your brain on this very important subject. So we'll end it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Evelyn.
Okay.
So we've reached the end of day one of East AfricaCom 2022. We hope it's been a great day for all our attendees, and you can catch any sessions you've missed today in the on-demand section on Swapcard. Each session will be uploaded shortly after they run, and you can view those at your leisure for the next 30 days. Join us tomorrow to hear from East AfricaCom's leading experts on exploring East Africa's connectivity map in 2022, how empowering SMEs can be an engine for East Africa's tech revolution, the importance of inclusion and diversity in the tech ecosystem, and much, much more. We hope to see you all tomorrow.